their Cincinnati's quarterback and their offense that hurt them. But I don't know, just super inconsistent, right? Super inconsistent.
Right. And
combine young players' injuries and inconsistencies. That's what you get.
I mean, and the quarterback play, the offensive line. I mean, it's just everything is just it felt like a, and Coan has a good opening drive, and then throws the interception, and an inexplicable interception, an interception that.
Well, he's under pressure too.
Right, but I'm saying at the goal line, that's an interception that maybe, okay, if Tyler Buckner throws it, you get it, he's a freshman. That's not the interception you're able to handle. All right, we're going to get into quarterbacks in a second because we don't know who's starting at quarterback, which is interesting. Ilya Glasman on the other side of the glass. He'll chip in on occasion with 2 cents from an ND fan. Ilya, by the way, have you recovered from last week when you were rolling in here high and muddy on the Irish and then they fall 24-13 to snap their 26-game home win streak?
Yeah, I'd say for the most part I have. I would say I would not recover if they lost tonight because one loss usually the college football playoff is out of reach. That's
unless there's absolute chaos.
Absolute chaos, right? But a New Year's Six Bowl is still something that to strive for. That's still something to look forward to. So I'm pretty excited about that prospect at least.
No, and that makes sense. I mean, I think they don't have anyone on their schedule. It would have to be true chaos somehow for Notre Dame to get into the college football playoff at this point. But at this point, you're not worried about that. You're worried about let's just get the wheels back on the bus.
Yeah.
If you can finish 11-1.
I mean, they're in a really tough stretch for the season. We looked at these 5 games in the middle.
Now the benefit to it is these teams are not as good as
we thought coming in. Yeah.
Now, the negative is Notre Dame is not as good as we thought coming in. And that's the bottom line. Everyone's like, well, they should win this game. And it's what we've said from the beginning. Yeah, they can win every one of these games, and they can lose every one of these games because they have their faults. All right, on tap on this morning's show, our poll question, if you are Brian Kelly, who would you start at quarterback? Apparently, who Brian Kelly may be voting for would be different than most of you. We will talk about that a lot in this segment. We have one of our biggest interview guests in the 4 years of our program. 1987 Heisman Trophy winner Tim Brown joins us. Amazing conversation about his faith journey while playing football. You won't want to miss it. Candid and powerful stuff from Touchdown Timmy coming up next segment in Focus on Faith. We, of course, break down the matchup with Virginia Tech. Can the Irish offensive line hold up? But let's start with injury updates and potentially a rather big one here today. All right, we'll start with on the front end, wide receiver Joe Wilkins now out for the season with a torn MCL. Good news, Kurt Heinisch expected back after missing 2 games with an upper body injury. Left tackle Michael Carmody has been practicing. Left tackle Tosh Baker has been cleared to play. Kelly said this week, Carmody, Baker, Joe Alt, Quinn Carroll, Josh Lugger, all options at tackle. That actually almost sounds more like a negative than a positive that we're talking about 5 different guys at tackle. And then here comes the big one.
Yeah.
Michael Mayer tweaked the groin against Cincinnati, hasn't practiced too much. They've been managing him this week. Brian Kelly said they're optimistic Mayer will be able to help in this game. Again, I'm not trying to read too much into what Brian Kelly's saying, but when you say we're optimistic he can help us, and when he was in at practice, it was red zone opportunities. Managed. These are terms that say, I don't know if he's going to be on the field every offensive play in this game. I don't know if he'll be on the field 50% of the time. We'll just have to wait and see.
And during the game, I mean, I know it's fourth quarter. They had a chance. You want your best players out there. But when he was limping along, I was like, please just get that kid out. I mean, he's young. Make sure he's not injured for the rest of the season. What are 3 extra plays going to do? I mean, I don't know. He's a really good talent, but I think he's really good when he's not limping around.
Well, here's the thing with all this. If he's not able to play to Michael Mayer's ability, I mean, how much worse is this offense?
Yeah, no, he's consistent as far as the receiver. He gets great separation, but I mean, again, that seemed pretty severe. Like I'm old school as far as having people play through pain, not necessarily injury, but man, I felt like he was really hampered, especially near the end.
Are your thoughts that based on what you saw as a longtime coach, thinking he's not gonna? Do you think he'll play today?
I think he'll possibly play a little bit, but I think maybe even less than what Kelly's leading on. I don't know. I mean, there's. I almost listen to too many press conferences. Kelly can be kind of confusing with his camouflage that he throws up. I don't know, at least as a coach, you don't read too much into what the press clippings are. But I do. I think it was he looked pretty bad. I don't think we'll see a ton of him. If we do, maybe like you said, near the red zone, somewhere where he can match up.
Well, here it's funny you say that because I've been around Brian Kelly now. What is it, 12 years? And just when I think I got a handle on reading Brian Kelly, he throws a new loop for me. And Brian Kelly, after a loss, no idea.
Yeah.
He gets a defense mechanism, and you just don't know what he's throwing. Usually it comes after a game. This week it came on like Monday and Tuesday. And, all sorts of bizarre stuff. I tweeted it out and posted on Facebook Saturday night.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly, he's got a tendency to throw players under the bus after losses. Hasn't done it the last couple of years, but most of those losses were to teams that you thought they probably were going to lose to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Clemson,
Big
Alabama.
games,
When you had a regular season loss that the fan base thought they should still win, regardless of the fact that Cincinnati was ranked higher and favored last week. The fan base thought they should win at home, and they should have won. They're at home and against a group of 5 team.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he handled himself well, and I thought the players handled themselves insanely well. We'll have a soundbite from the players coming up in a little bit, but I'm jumping ahead in our rundown a little bit, but I might as well get it out of the way now because then Monday, everyone starts asking questions about the quarterbacks. Everyone starts asking questions about the offensive line. He gets super defensive about Jeff Quinn, his offensive line coach, saying that criticism's unfair. How is it unfair to criticize a coach? I mean, if you want to say it's unfair to criticize a player, okay. I mean,
if they're young, but they also
get
get the benefit of all the accolades too, right?
Yeah. So, but a coach, it is not unfair to criticize a coach. And then he throws out, we worked 77 hours this week. I don't care. You're making $4 million a year, Brian. I mean, I know Jeff Quinn's not making $4 million a year, but Brian Kelly is or something around that. I mean, come on. And then came the ridiculous of all ridiculousness. Tuesday night, we're supposed to get Avery Davis, Myron Tagliamosa, Cam Hart, and I'm trying to think of who the fourth player was. I can't think of it off the top of my head. And we get Avery Davis. Here's why. Because he grew up right outside of Virginia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to make sure they didn't mess with the people back in Virginia, the columnists and the TV stations that wanted him. And then they tried out 4 walk-ons. They gave us no notice. They didn't give the walk-ons any notice. So they're putting the walk-ons in a terrible spot to go up there. I was almost considering trying to goad the walk-ons into telling me who the starting quarterback's going to be. And then I'm like, you know what? They just found out. Yeah. They've never done interviews before. I'm not gonna put this kid in a bad position. So we had some fun with it. I posted a fun video on Facebook and Twitter, and I'm not gonna take it out on the players. But what a Bush League move by
bizarre.
Brian Kelly.
Yeah, when I saw that, I don't know.
And they said, "Oh, the players voted." I don't care. You're the coach. You should know better. And you know what? If the captain said, "Oh, let's send on the walk-ons," then bat on the captains. That's a bad result from the captains. You want to send out the walk-ons, that's fine. Actually, I don't have a problem with sending out the walk-ons.
Yeah.
Send 2 or 3 walk-ons in addition to the players that were already going. Then that's cool. You want to have Avery Davis walk up and go, hey, here's my buddy. I'm going to do the interview with him. All right, let's do it. I'll ask you a couple questions. We'll ask him a couple questions. We'll have fun. But it's... Look,
it was a bizarre response. I mean, part of your job is to do media relations.
I mean, and it's not the media,
I don't know.
And this was not the media relations department.
Yeah.
It was not them. They were caught off guard just as much as everybody else. So it was not that. I mean, we had kids walking to the podium. We didn't even know their names yet. Like, we're whispering, like, who is it? And we had to, like, get passed down because I'm sorry, I don't know all the walk-ons, and I certainly don't know what they look like. Because I have not met most of them. Now, I know Chris Velada is now. He's a pretty funny guy. And he played a couple games in special teams, and he hopes to be back with the media, he said one day, for another reason, that he's earned the spot and been there. All right. Okay, so there's that tangent.
Yes, strange week.
I knew I had to get that off my chest, and I didn't know how much time I was going to have to do it. But that just shows the turmoil, though, because you're not acting – you always say, 24-hour rule, act the same after a win. They're not acting the same.
No. Well, and that inconsistency that you see on the field, I mean, that's pretty inconsistent during the week as well.
But if he's acting that way with the media.
Yeah. What's he like behind closed doors?
I imagine he's doing things differently behind the scenes. And maybe sometimes you're like, maybe that's a good thing. You're trying to get a spark. And maybe he's thinking in his head, I'm going to rally up the troops, and if we can make this an us against the world mentality, screw the media.
Yeah.
And that's going to lead to win the game. Fine. All right. I know you got to do whatever you got to do to win. Yeah. But other than that, ridiculous. And you know what?
Strange.
And then let's talk about the quarterback situation. So let's get this out of the way. Who do you think should start today, Kevin?
I think Drew Pyne, like number 10, far and away.
Pyne, easy.
All right, and I think
that's part of the mystery. Like, I don't have more wins than Newt Rockne. I was watching it with my kids, my father-in-law, and an uncle, a basketball player and a golfer, and they said, "Wow, that guy's way better. Why don't they just play him?"
And
I don't know.
I think so too. Here's the poll question: if you were Brian Kelly, who should start tonight against Virginia Tech? We had nearly 600 votes.
Okay.
Tyler Buckner got 6%. Okay, that sounds about right. You want to guess what percentage Drew Pyne got?
To me, it's not even close. I don't see the.
Okay, so what percentage do you think he got?
Let's go 85%.
83% said Drew Pyne.
Yeah.
All right. Jack Coan got 11%. Brian Kelly won't announce. He said on Monday he knows who the quarterback is. He didn't want to say it then because he had to tell the players. Fine. I get that.
Yeah.
But then he says, I ask him, I go, all right, are you going to tell us later in the week? He goes, no, I don't think I will. I go, all right, is that for...
I just don't feel it's a strategic advantage. I don't understand.
Well, hold on. He said it wasn't a strategic advantage either because Virginia Tech knows all three quarterbacks. Then I'm like, well, then why wouldn't you just tell us? If it's not a strategic advantage, what is the point of not saying anything?
I don't know.
All right.
Weird games.
So then on Thursday, Tim Priester asked a question. We're gonna air Tim's question in addition to the answer so we get the full scope that basically tells us who the quarterback is.
On one hand, you'd probably like to start a veteran quarterback this weekend in a hostile environment, and on the other hand, you'd probably like somebody a little bit more mobile versus Virginia Tech's aggressive defense. I wonder how you weighed those varied factors in determining a starter as early as Monday or Sunday.
Yeah, those were part of the factors. I think going on the road and the environment that we're in was a factor. Mobility is a bit of a factor. It needed to be evaluated. And then, certainly, grading out. And, I think from our, overall perspective, what of the guys, who gives us the best chance to win. This is still about winning football games. And so when we added all those things up, that's how we came up with the decision. But all those are accurate, that they needed to be considered.
Needed to be considered. Mobility is a bit of a factor to be evaluated. Being able to handle yourself on a road environment, that's very important. All right, clearly, if he's telling us the truth in that soundbite, maybe he's not. If he is telling us the truth, that's Jack Coan. I'm not nuts here, right?
Well,
he basically just said Jack Coan's the quarterback, unless he's lying to us. Which again, if he's claiming I'm not trying to do gamemanship, and he's trying to make it seem like Jack Coan's going to play, and then he's going to try out Drew Pyne, fine.
Yeah.
if that's what you think is going to work. I don't know if it matters. Just say you're starting Drew Pyne, and who cares? And I don't know.
Yeah, that's strange.
By the way, just to point things out, everyone thinks Drew Pyne played much better than Jack Coan in the game. Coan had a great opening drive, and then he throws a horrible interception. Horrific. Terrible. One you should never throw. By the way, in the end, Coan was 14 of 22. Pyne was 9 of 22 in that game last week. Isn't that crazy to think about?
Yeah, I mean, I guess a couple
now,
of
I know
stats. No interception.
And he's chucking up stuff at the end, so made Pyne's numbers look worse.
Well, and again, they're drops. There were like three perfectly thrown plays that would have had them win the game.
The Kevin Austin play over the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that was brutal.
That changed the entire game. That's when I knew. I was like, nope, today's not.
What is that? I mean, he was
was wide open right at midfield.
Yeah,
there was
at
not
midfield,
a player within sight for at least a good 10 yards.
I mean, and it might not have been a perfect. And here's the thing. It wasn't a perfectly placed ball. It should have been easily caught. I'm not saying it shouldn't have been. I assume Drew Pyne must be terrible in practice. This is the only thing.
I did think about that, but then let's evaluate his game. For some reason, everything works better. Why? It doesn't make any sense.
But he also must be making mistakes in the game that we're not seeing. And you know this as a coach, though, Kevin, right? There's
reads, there's things that you ask him to do. But to me, same bad offensive line, right? Lots of different guys that are injured and young. But when he's in there seems to be a flow, and he doesn't get as much pressure. When I look at Jack Coan, I don't think, wow, that's the most immobile human being I've ever seen. But when you just watch the game unfold, he is just getting trounced. I don't know if it's that there's absolutely no threat of a run, but it just doesn't make sense. They're with Pyne, there's Drew Pyne, there's a chance for their offense to be fairly complete and survive. And in two halves, he's done really well and led them back. Why not give him a game? You recruited the guy, right? You believe in him.
Maybe they say they do, and he's proven it this year. All right, hold on. We're going to do more quarterbacks in a second, but big thank you to TireRack for all the support of our internship program that we run with students from St. Joseph and Marion High Schools here in Michiana. The students receive practical college-level internship experience. Helping out with the broadcast of high school football wouldn't be possible without the underwriting support from the folks at TireRack. More tires, great prices. Visit TireRack.com. All right, Kelly said we're going with one guy. All right. So that means no Tyler Buckner, right? I mean, we're going with one guy. It's going to be Pyne or Coan, right? Right? Well, then he asked a clarification question on Thursday, and here's what he had to say about Tyler Buckner.
What I was saying more than anything else, it was important to really rally behind one quarterback, but it doesn't take the opportunity for us to be multiple if we feel like Tyler Buckner can add to what we're doing as a part of our offense. I don't want to call him a wildcat because he's not. He can do much more, but offenses use that as part of their established offensive structure. So we need an established singular offensive structure, but if we feel like we need to add to it to be better at moving the football, I wouldn't say Tyler Buckner's out of the options of playing in any game this year.
It's really confusing. And if it's confusing to the media, then what's it like in the
and maybe it's
practice?
Not. Maybe it's not.
They say, hey, I'm going to tell all these guys the world something, but we know the secret. It doesn't make sense.
Well,
or in fairness to Tyler Buckner, if he can run around and make plays and do some things, just have him run normal offense. Don't be making up weird things with third string players to have that guy run.
And again, maybe it's a hey, Tyler, you're not playing this week, but I'm gonna say you are, or I'm gonna hint that you might, so that Virginia Tech keeps on preparing for you. I don't know.
Again, and during the game, when he did one true normal drop back pass, not part of his little package, and the defensive end came around on a twist and absolutely planted the guy, I thought, this isn't fair to him either. Yeah. This is insane. Why do you have number 10 on the sidelines watching this kid get just annihilated, and it resulted in a turnover? Like, it's weird and strange things that are not conducive to consistent good football.
If he's telling the truth in these mini interviews, I don't even know what he's gaining, because if you say Tyler Buchner's not playing this week,
well, maybe
they still got to prepare. No, they still got to prepare for him, because then you go and play him and it's fine. It doesn't matter. You can say whatever you say. Coaches are gonna look at it. Is he saying this, but means that you got to prepare anyway. So it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, it's strange.
But so if we take him at face value, I don't know what the heck's going on. That's the bottom line.
Yep.
All right. Man, we're running late. I knew the quarterbacks were going to kill us. Real quick, let's get in this soundbite from Drew White and Michael Mayer after the game. Just the raw emotions after the game from Drew White and Michael Mayer.
At the end of the day, I think Notre Dame beat Notre Dame today. Made too many mistakes. Didn't execute well. I told the guys it's the 24-hour rule, same as a win. So, we've had a lot of wins. We celebrate that win for 24 hours, and we're back into work, and that's exactly how we're going to handle this loss for 24 hours. This guy's going to be down. We're going to be watching film. We're not going to feel good about it. But coming in Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to be ready. We're going to prepare. We're going to be ready for Virginia Tech because it's going to be a good game, and they're going to try and beat us too. And so we can't let one game define the rest of our season. We need to continue to battle and come back.
Mike, what's the mood in the locker room there as you guys were trying to get yourself together after the defeat?
I don't know. I mean, we just lost, so probably not too good.
I mean,
that makes me like him more.
And I'm
somebody honest.
I asked the question, and I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
He's like, "What do you think, buddy? You're an idiot. Why are you asking me this question?" Fine. Thank you. I don't care. You're raw, you're emotional, and you're telling me the truth. I'm okay with you saying, "What do you come on, man. I'm mad." Yeah, I'm mad. That's fine. And he was even more mad because he was hurt.
Oh.
Yeah, so, and kudos to him for coming to the media. I thought,
and
again,
playing through, the
players handling themselves well. Drew White saying Notre Dame beat Notre Dame. That's kind of what we've been saying as well. And I don't know.
Well, and he even had a great, that interception. Like, he played pretty well too. I don't know. Yes, it is a confusing time to be a Notre Dame follower for sure.
All right. Offensive line going to look any better today?
Well, we got a lot of different people that can go in there. I think it depends on who's quarterback. With Drew Pyne, I think that there's a timing issue that works for some reason, and I think if that happens, it'll be good. If we play lots of different quarterbacks, it could magnify the problem.
Yeah, I mean, based on what he said about Buchner, if we take him at face value, I think we might end up seeing all three quarterbacks today. Yeah. Coan might start. Buchner might go. It might be the exact same thing.
Yeah, second half Drew Pyne. We'll see if we can.
Or maybe at least put him in a little bit earlier. Maybe put him in the.
What? Yeah.
I mean,
it'd be pretty neat to see him have a game.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
He hasn't even started a game yet. Maybe give him a chance. All right. We'll talk about Notre Dame, Virginia Tech more at the back end of the segment or back end of the show. We gotta go to commercial, and still to come. Like I said, we'll break down the matchup with Virginia Tech. Up next, an interview with 1987 Heisman Trophy winner Tim Brown. You won't want to miss it. Notre Dame FCU's Irish Sports Saturdays is back right after this.
We know you like football. So do we. We're TireRack.com, and this is our version of a 2-minute drill, except it's only 30 seconds. TireRack.com has an enormous selection of tires. Not sure which ones to buy? Use our tire decision guide to find the right tires for your vehicle and the way you drive. Then get them shipped fast and free on all orders over $50. Shipping is in as little as 1 day. Free. TireRack.com ships to independent, recommended installers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Touchdown!
Indiana Physical Therapy is your choice for physical and occupational therapy. We treat all walks of life, from peewees to professionals, Olympians, and those in between. Schedule at one of our 21 locations without a doctor's order. We accept all insurance plans and have the highest credentialed and most reputable staff. Open 7 to 7 to schedule the same day you call. Indiana Physical Therapy. Call 260-209-2464 or visit indianapt.com, where people go to get better.
Tom's Car Care Center in South Bend is about a lot more than oil changes and car washes. Parishioners at Corpus Christi Church Tom's Car Care Center is family owned and operated and has served our community since 1988, and we thank them for proudly supporting Redeemer Radio. So stop in for an oil change, grab a sandwich or coffee while you wait, and drive off with a car wash to have your car looking new again. Tom's Car Care Center, the Coffee Spot Cafe, and the Waterworks Car Wash, located at 3201 Sugar Maple Court in South Bend.
Elkhart Bedding believes a good mattress is the key to a good night's sleep, and as a factory outlet, they can save you money too. Elkhart Bedding has been family run and locally owned for more than 100 years, and they believe in giving back to our community. That's why Elkhart Bedding supports Catholic entities like Redeemer Radio and the Apostolate of Divine Mercy in South Bend, and hopes you will too. Elkhart Bedding is located at 2124 Sterling Avenue in Elkhart, or at elkhartbedding.com.
Hi, this is Tony Catanzaric from Catanzaric Financial Services. My father and mother, Joe and Mary Catanzaric, lived their lives based on love of God, family, and country. Those values and life priorities can unite our country under God if we do our best to keep the 10 Commandments and treat others as we would like to be treated. If you have any questions about this message or would like help planning your financial future, contact me at tony@catanzaricfinancial.com.
Securities and advisory services offered through Harbor Investment Inc., member SIPC.
This is Leonard DiLorenzo, host of Church Life Today, a production of the McGrath Institute for Church Life at the University of Notre Dame. On Church Life Today, we talk with pastoral leaders and scholars about some of the most important theological, social, and ministerial issues in the church, digging deeper than sound bites or hot takes. If that sounds good to you, join us on Mondays during the noon hour right here on Redeemer Radio, or pick up episodes wherever you get your podcast or directly at spokestreet.com/churchlife.
Notre Dame Federal Credit Union has been serving the Notre Dame community for more than 80 years. Get a debit or credit card from Notre Dame FCU and take a little bit of Notre Dame with you wherever you go. Member-owned, not-for-profit banking is the way to go. You're a share of values. Why not share in our benefits? Notre Dame Federal Credit Union. Time now for our Focus on Faith interview, and it's with the legendary Tim Brown. I imagine, Kevin, back in the day, growing up here in South Bend, that was one great football player to watch as a kid for you.
Yeah, he was great at Notre Dame, and then again, his NFL career was awesome too. I was a Raiders fan.
Oh, you were a
Raiders fan as a kid, so that was pretty cool.
And I was not a Raiders fan as a kid. I did not grow up in South Bend, and I loved him as a kid as well. I mean, he was that good as a Raider, and of course, he's Notre Dame's last Heisman Trophy winner in 1987, one of the best wide receivers in NFL history, an extraordinary player for the Raiders after his ND career ended. College football, Pro Football Hall of Fame. I've been blessed to interview Tim a lot over the years, especially when he went into the College Football Hall of Fame back in 2009, but we've never had a chance to talk about his faith, and he was so open and honest about his journey and the struggles he had at times. Very real and candid stuff about that. So here's Focus on Faith with the great Tim Brown. All right, Tim, first of all, thanks for joining us here today. I've interviewed you a ton of times over the years, but we never got a chance to talk about faith, and happy to be able to do that with you now. Take us back, Tim, to your maybe starts, your roots as a kid, and how important faith was in your family growing up.
Man, look, I grew up in church, brother. I mean, I was born and raised in church, and when I say that, I mean that because Wednesday night, Friday night, all day Sunday, we were in church. But it was something that I really enjoyed because, first of all, I was playing, percussion. So we didn't have drums, and we had a drum. So I played the drum when I was 6, 7 years old at the church. And so I was always eager to go, to be able to do that. So it was just a part of my life, man. I mean, and to be honest with you, as I got older and realized that a lot of kids didn't go to church like I did, I couldn't figure out if I was weird or if they were weird, but I knew there was a difference between my life and the life of some of these kids that I was interacting with.
I know you're not Catholic, but did Notre Dame and your faith life play a factor in your decision to go to Notre Dame, or did that not really have a factor in any way?
Certainly, a faith-based, school was something that we were looking for. But I mean, I think my parents and everyone around just liked the fact that we were looking at a university that did things different, right? And certainly, I believe that's because of it being faith-based that it is, that they do things differently. So I think from that standpoint, it played a part, but didn't play a part, if you know what I mean. So
yeah, no, that makes sense. And then you kind of said, you weren't sure if you were the weird one or if others were the weird ones. And then almost in everyone's faith journey, probably around those times, you kind of lose your way. When did you start maybe not living the faith life as well as you would have liked? When did that kind of start for you, Tim?
Well, certainly, what they used to call them little fast tail girls. You get somebody whisper in your ear, man, that things that you've never heard before, and you get your boys, on you about, not having been with a woman. Then it becomes tough, man. It becomes tough you got a woman on one hand challenging you, and you got your boys on the other hand challenging you, and it becomes very difficult. And unfortunately for me, that happened at a relatively young age, and you realize, wow, this wasn't so bad, and you sort of continue that lifestyle, and you get to the point where all of a sudden now you're sitting in California with a pocket full of money, and you got all these beautiful women around you, and it becomes an issue. It becomes a real issue. I never drank alcohol in my life. I never smoked a joint in my life. Wasn't really a partying guy per se. I certainly enjoyed my time, but I wasn't one that was going to stay up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning partying and doing all that kind of stuff. But I had some issues that I was dealing with, man, and it became tougher because the situation I was in became easier to manipulate not only myself but other people, so from that standpoint, it just from 16 till I was about 25, man, I was just really going through it, and when I was about 25, that's when I realized that I had to start doing things differently.
We're talking to Tim Brown, legendary former Heisman Trophy winner from Notre Dame, pro football, college football Hall of Famer, joining us here on Notre Dame Federal Credit Union's Irish Sports Saturdays, our Focus on Faith interview. Tim taking us through his faith journey. You mentioned at 25, what clicked? What changed? What happened that you realized it's time to stop acting the way I'm acting and become closer to God again?
Yeah, well, I literally felt like, I never forget, man, I was in my tri-level condo in Manhattan Beach, California, and I was brushing my teeth, and I looked in the mirror, and it's like I just heard the Spirit say, Tim Brown, when are you going to do my will? And I mean, almost to the point where I felt like I almost dropped my toothbrush, right? Because I felt like I almost heard an audible voice, But it's like the Spirit was saying to me, when are you going to do my will? And I literally was, trying to justify, hey, I'm a great guy. You know what I mean? I got 5 girlfriends, but I treat them all well. You know what I mean? And, I don't do this, I don't do that. And constantly what I heard was, when are you going to do my will? And it was just a moment that I just had to go, wow, okay. And look, I'm not trying to tell you that once I heard that, I went cold turkey, and, it was a process. It was a process of elimination. And, I think I had to, come to grips with where I was in my faith walk, and where I was in reality, with the situation that I had at hand. But it's just amazing how God, eliminated this person and that person, and it was just a pretty wild how all that happened, so to the point where 2 or 3 years later, I was in a position where I could say, okay, I'm ready. I'm really ready to do this right now.
Okay, when you say, when are you going to do my will, and that's what you're hearing, how did you then take that message to do God's will?
Well, because what was implied was that what you're doing right now is not my will. So, so what I knew growing up in church exactly what that meant. The man that I was supposed to be, the leader that I was supposed to be, And at this time, I had a son already, so who was, 3 years old. So I knew that, I should be doing things differently with my life, and so it was not. The hard thing for a person like me, when you grew up in church and you've heard a million messages and you read the Bible through and through, you know exactly. So it wasn't a matter of me having to go, let me figure out what this is all about. I knew exactly what I need to do. But I always felt like if I tried to okay, everybody leave and I'm not doing this anymore, I'm not doing that anymore, never, ever again, then, it would be one of those situations where you do it too fast and all of a sudden you go, wait, what did I do? But I think the way that God did things for me during that time, even, I got saved 2 weeks before I met my wife. 2 weeks. And I really believe that, and no, I got to tell you the story. One of my teammates, God rest his soul, Chester McLaughlin, passed away at 42 years old back in 2011. Chester McLaughlin met my wife a year and a half before I met her, right? Now, when he met her on a Friday night, because she lived in the same apartment complex that he did, they had this community deal that she cooked the food and all this kind of stuff. He came in Saturday morning and told me, I met your wife last night.
I met your wife?
Yes. He told me, I met your wife last night. And I was like, is that right? He was like, yeah, she's a beautiful girl. She's a Christian girl. And, she's a great cook. And da-da-da. I was like, hold up, bro. I said, if she's all that, why are you not, he was like, man, she's too good for me. So he said, she too good for me. And the only reason I didn't meet her before is because I didn't trust. I was like, Chet, I know you. And there's no way a girl is going to be this fine or this whatever. And you're not trying to, and he just kept laughing like, Tim, I'm telling you, I don't want to go around this girl. That's how, she is like, she's like God and like we're looking at God or something, you know what I mean? When we see her, everybody's like, just leave her alone. Just leave her alone. Let her do her thing. She cooks the food. She goes in the room. She let us do whatever. And she comes back out, cleans up, and she's out. And I was like, bro, why are you lying to your boy like that? So, I mean, this went on for a year and a half almost. And at his wedding, she comes walking in. I don't know it's her. I'm sitting with 20 football players, and everybody's like, oh, my God, look at that girl. Da-da-da. That's the one. That's the one. And he just happened to have us sitting together at the table at his reception. We hit it off, da-da-da, this and that. And I'm leaving early because the next day is my mom's birthday. I'm going home on a red eye from California. And I go up to him and say, man, I'm out of here. I was like, dude, this girl is Sharice? I was like, man, if I'd have met her 6 months ago, we'd be having a double wedding right now. And he literally grabbed me by the collar and was like, boy, that's the girl I've been trying to get you to meet for a year and a half. But I wasn't ready, man. My mindset was not there. I would have probably been trying to play the same games on her that I was doing with everybody else. And, but thankfully, during that time, that little 2-week period, gave me a chance to look at things differently.
What an awesome story. Thanks for sharing that one, Tim. How did, and we're talking to Tim Brown, former Notre Dame Heisman Trophy winner here on Notre Dame Federal Credit Union's Irish Sports Saturdays, our Focus on Faith interview. How then as you find yourself here, did your faith then help you in the locker room? to try to translate that with your teammates. I read something that you were saying it helped being really good at football that people would listen to you more because you were the man, you were the guy in the locker room.
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake I believe Christian athletes make is they believe that they're called to go into a locker room and thump the Bible, be a Bible thumper, as we call them. And I believe that is the biggest mistake that Christian athletes can make, because guys are not sweating and doing all that, especially in the NFL locker room. You're not doing everything you do on the football field to come into a locker room and hear that. You know what I mean? And so I believe that you have to draw people to you or be drawn to people in order for you to be effective, because otherwise, people, when you come around, people are going to be like, oh, here you come, whatever. Well, in my situation, I felt bad because the locker room is a rowdy place, right? I mean, I tell people some of the more damnable things happen in the locker room, and at the same time, I believe that you can solve world peace in an NFL locker room, But you have to be sometimes careful about what you say and what you do. But in certain situations, I felt like for years I had brought a lot of the calamity into the locker room, and now all of a sudden I'm trying to take it out, right? And how am I going to do that and still keep my position as a captain, as a leader of this football team? And what I chose to do was to live my life, because people didn't believe you. Everybody's like, oh, Tim Brown. Everybody tries to do this God thing, but nobody lasts. So I think for me, it was really just a matter of, not just a matter, but I just said to myself, I'm going to live this thing the way I know how to live it, and whatever happens, happens. And but at the same time, if my play would have ever dropped on the field, then everybody would have blamed it on that. They would have blamed it on me, because we had a couple guys, and I won't name any names, but we had guys who all of a sudden were professing faith. And, when they dropped the ball, they would be saying, oh, God didn't want me to catch that pass. When they fumble the ball, well, God wanted me to fumble. It's like, hold up, bro. God is not in all that. You know what I mean? But and I just thought that was the wrong way, and that was not the right way to represent your faith anyway. So I chose not to do that. I chose to stay quiet, live my life, let people see what I was doing. And it took a while. It took over a season for it to happen, but you saw guys start to pull me over. Hey man, whatever you're doing is much different than I saw this guy do, or that guy do, or this guy. So let me know what's going on. Can we talk? Can I come over to your house? And I started to get those kinds of conversations with guys going. Younger guys coming into the league like, Tim Brown, man, I've never heard you curse. You ain't never cursed in your life. I used to curse coaches out, players out, my teammates out, certainly referees. I curse them out all the time, without a doubt. So, and they was like, man, I can't believe it. Well, that was my opportunity to tell them, well, hey, God took all that away from me. He took that the feeling of wanting to curse somebody out. He took all that away, because I asked him to take it away from me. You know what I mean? And now you get to have these real deep conversations, man. I'm 38 years old. You got guys coming into the league 21, 22. I can almost be their dad. You know what I mean? And so having the opportunity to show guys you can play this game at a high level and still serve God was something that I felt very proud of when I walked away from the game.
You've been married almost 25 years now. You have a bunch of great kids. How do you live your life now, Tim, as that role model for your children to be a man of God?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to keep living, man. I mean, even when it seems like there's a good time for you to say something that is out of line or whatever, you always have to be godly. You always have to approach every situation, because the one thing I know is my 18-year-old son, who just called me a second ago while we were on this call, he's looking, he's watching. And I know that because when I hear him talk to other people, he'll talk about what his dad does and what his dad doesn't do. You know, and I was in a situation with him. I was at a baseball game, and I was talking to a guy to the right, and he was talking to a guy to the left, and I finished talking to the guy to the right, and I was just, you know, watching the baseball game, but I'm listening to him talk, man. And the guy was like, little Timmy, you seem to be so composed, this and that. And he was like, well, my dad does da-da-da-da-da, and my dad didn't do that, you know what I mean? And I was like, wow, you know what I mean? And this was, 6 months ago. And, it was just one of those things that make you go, wow, they are really watching you. They're watching everything that you do. So for me, living, again, because I have the background and I know what to do, how to do it, and all those kind of things, it hasn't been a very difficult, because I'm not searching for where God wants me to be or what I need to do, because I know those things. I was taught those things at an early age. And it's just something that you have to be always cognizant of, because, not only your family, but, people around them, they're always watching.
Tim, thank you so much for sharing your whole journey. This has been an incredible conversation. I want to sneak in one Notre Dame question.
Yeah.
Can you play offensive line?
Oh my God, man! I tell you what, it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch because we're so spoiled from being such a dominant offensive line for years and years and years, and to have this one semi-down year is a very tough thing for your defense, for sure. But look, man, I'm just hoping week after week that the guys get better. And if that happens, then, we'll have a very solid football team at the end of the year and going into next year. But, yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. And I feel for the big guys, because it's tough. It's tough when you feel like you're out there on an island. And it certainly seems like that's the situation right now with a couple of offensive linemen.
Tim, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
All right, guys. Take care.
The legendary Tim Brown, extraordinary interview. I mean, he was honest in every sense, from Notre Dame to certainly his faith journey. What were your takeaways, Kevin?
Again, the honesty and a couple of really good laughs. The way he put it, I guess we're all on the faith journey of maturing and becoming the people we want to be and we want our kids to look up to. So.
And now married almost 25 years, as he talked about.
That's a great story, too.
He talked about his vice being women, and now happily married and faithful to his wife for 25 years. 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls, and Timmy Jr., who he referenced, I believe that's who he was referencing there, now is actually here at Holy Cross College. So
cool.
As a student there. So great interview with Tim Brown, and we appreciate him coming on. I think that might be my favorite one that we've had in these 4 years. It was pretty powerful stuff. All right. Up next, what to expect. It's our game day sprint on Notre Dame FCU's Irish Sports Saturdays.
Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. The golden rule. When you schedule a financial checkup with Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, our people will be helpful and honest and kind. They will look for ways to save you money, and when your checkup is complete, they will send $150 to Redeemer Radio. For more info, visit NotreDameFCU.com/elevate. You already share our values. Why not share in our benefits? Notre Dame Federal Credit Union.
Support for programming on Redeemer Radio is provided by the DeNicola Center for Ethics and Culture at the University of Notre Dame. The DeNicola Center is committed to sharing the richness of the Catholic moral and intellectual tradition, both on campus and in the wider public square. Learn more about the DeNicola Center and see our schedule of upcoming conferences, lectures, and events at ethicscenter.nd.edu.
Are you struggling to make ends meet or know someone who is? Let the St. Vincent de Paul Society help. From food to clothing vouchers, financial assistance, and even beds for children, the St. Vincent de Paul Society has been helping the community since 1904. Programs are available to residents of St. Joseph County at no cost. For more information, call 574-234-6000 or visit our website at svdpsb.org.
Did you know 1 in 5 Americans will develop some form of skin cancer by the time they're 70? Skin cancer is the most common form of cancer, and it's mainly caused by sunshine. If you can't be in the shade when you're outside this summer, make the most of hats, lightweight clothing, and sunscreen to preserve your healthy skin. If you notice a spot that looks different than anything else on your body, or a non-healing sore that lasts more than a month, see a dermatologist. Such areas are more likely to be skin cancer. I'm Dr. Tom McGovern, skin cancer and reconstructive surgeon who's been practicing at Fort Wayne Dermatology for over 20 years. I've treated over 30,000 skin cancers with Mohs surgery, an outpatient procedure that provides a 99% cure rate for new basal cell skin cancers. If you have skin cancer, my compassionate and skilled team at Fort Wayne Dermatology would be privileged to care for you.
We know you like football, so do we. We're TireRack.com, and this is our version of a 2-minute drill, except it's only 30 seconds. TireRack.com has an enormous selection of tires. Not sure which ones to buy? Use our tire decision guide to find the right tires for your vehicle and the way you drive. Then get them shipped fast and free on all orders over $50. Shipping is in as little as 1 day, free. TireRack.com ships to independent, recommended installers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Touchdown!
Time now for our game day sprint. Angelo, Carlo, Kevin Downey, Ilya Glasman back with you here on Notre Dame Federal Credit Union's Irish Sports Saturdays. Notre Dame 4-1 on the season, ranked 14th at Virginia Tech tonight. 7:30 kickoff in Blacksburg on the ACC Network. 4th all-time meeting between these two schools, but it's actually the 4th time in 6 years that they've played. Notre Dame leads 2-1 as they've had all their all-time meetings in the last 4 years. Most recently, Notre Dame winning 21-20 at Notre Dame Stadium in 2019. In their only meeting in Blacksburg, Notre Dame won 45-23 back in 2018. Certainly, for those watching on Facebook and YouTube, you can see the atmosphere of Lane Stadium. It is a rowdy place, and I guess maybe that's one of the reasons. Maybe it's Jack Coan at quarterback for Notre Dame, because Kevin's shaking his head. Yeah. But, I mean, atmosphere could play a factor, certainly.
True. It'll be intense.
That would be a very tough place for Drew Pyne to make his first career start.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the environment's going to be really intense. I guess the one thing that I see that is a constant to look forward to is this is going to be a really good game as far as it being close in my mind, because Notre Dame has played every game close this year. Yeah. Virginia Tech has played every game fairly close this year. The only people that they really got after was Middle Tennessee State, which they should. And then, the series, if you look at the scores, they're really close. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a great game, great atmosphere. Again, I used to love the old Bud Foster defense. Now it's, new faces, new names, but they still are consistently good at defense and special teams, and it's a great environment as far as Virginia Tech.
All right, let's look at Virginia Tech's offense, led by Braxton Burmeister, the quarterback. What challenges does he bring? What challenges does their offense bring as a whole?
Well, he's a good runner. He's transferred from Oregon, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But then they match up really well, too. On the outside, they have quite a few weapons. So number 11, Trey Turner, 16 catches, 250 yards. And number 9, Tavion Robinson, 14 catches, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns. The running backs are tough, too. Maybe I would think that they're going to be good for at least 1 touchdown because they're going to isolate a linebacker and catch a pass, probably a wheel route out of the backfield.
But this is not their strength. Their strength is the defense. And that's a problem because that's obviously Notre Dame's weakness right now. Virginia Tech's defense ranked 10th in the nation in scoring defense. They're only giving up 15 points per game.
Yeah, and again, they're kind of led by 2 linebackers. The leading tackler is number 34, Alan Tisdale. And then number 4, at least according to their media guy, Dax Holyfield's a middle linebacker. He's supposed to be their leader. And then, one guy has 3 interceptions, number 2, cornerback Jermaine Waller. So, yeah, they're tough. And I think it's easy just to kind of watch the left guard and left tackle because that's where the issues are in the quarterback for Notre Dame. But I think the wheels will totally come off the bus if the nose guards for the other team, 12 and 3, some big boys that do really well, if they get after the best offensive lineman, Jarrett Patterson, It won't matter who's at quarterback. It'll just be a nightmare.
And then red zone, 4 games, Virginia Tech has only allowed teams to reach the red zone 7 times. In 5 games, Notre Dame has only reached the red zone 11 times. And Notre Dame has only scored touchdowns on 6 of those 11 trips. So that could be a problem. All right, keys to the game. We only got a minute left. So, Kevin, your keys to the game here?
Close game. I think the turnover battle is going to be it.
Ilya?
Ride the pine.
Right. That's GP. Good. And I say score first and don't commit the first turnover. It's an obvious one. Game prediction, Kevin, what do you got?
I think it'll be close. Notre Dame 21, Virginia Tech 20.
I'm going Notre Dame scores a late touchdown. Notre Dame 28, Virginia Tech 17.
I'll go Notre Dame 23, Virginia Tech 20, but I'll say this. We've been wrong the last couple weeks. Yeah. So I don't know what to expect in this one, but
expect the unexpected.
I don't feel good about my prediction. By the way, that's my same prediction from last week.
Yeah, if Coan plays, we lose. I'll say that.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, okay. Well, and you may not be wrong on that.
Yeah.
And if Coan plays, we lose, you say. Well, if Coan just starts. Oh, that's it in playing. Okay, very good. Well, we'll see who ends up starting here tonight. That's all the fun in this game. All right, guys, thank you very much. That'll do it for Notre Dame Federal Credit Union's Irish Sports Saturdays, Notre Dame FCU, where you bank does matter. Thanks to our audio operator and producer today, Ilya Glasman. For Kevin Downey, I'm Angelo Carlo. Notre Dame and Virginia Tech, 7:30 kickoff on the ACC Network. If you have Comcast, you don't get it. Get a YouTube trial. We'll, of course, be back with you next Saturday at 9 a.m. here on Notre Dame Federal Credit Union's Irish Sports Saturdays. We close our show the same way the Irish traditionally close their pregame in prayer.
Hi, this is Father Nate Wills. I'm a Holy Cross priest, a faculty member at Notre Dame's Alliance for Catholic Education, and one of the chaplains to the Notre Dame football team. This is a prayer that the players pray together at the end of our pregame Mass. Let us pray. Grant, we beseech you, O Lord our God, that we may enjoy continual health of mind and body, and by the glorious intercession of Mary our Lady, may we accept the joys and trials of this life and someday enter into eternal happiness. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. Go Irish!
This has been a presentation of Redeemer Radio Sports. Thanks for joining us for Notre Dame Federal Credit Union's Irish Sports Saturdays. Enjoy today's game.
We are Redeemer Radio, Catholic radio for Michiana, 95.7 FM.